All right, I contacted this Rob Greenfield a couple years ago because I heard that he was going to be trying to live off of foraging and a couple of front yard gardens for an entire year. Something that I had been similar that I had been trying to do for years off and on. And I only found even remotely possible by having uh, a dairy pet, like dairy goat or dairy sheep. I had started a goat share program, loaning out my goats to yards and sharing the milking duties and the milk supply. And that was the only way that I could find to consistently have calories and, most importantly, consistently have fat. So I contacted him about it to suggest that might want to do that. And upon waiting for him to respond to me after the initial contact, apparently when he was checking out my stuff, I started recognizing from checking out his stuff that he was a very dishonest person, and it wasn't too deep that I had to dig before I found the image of him saying I lied, which was talking about a post that he had made where he was claiming to have led a cleanup crew on a beach, and several of the locals had commented on his post about how that all that trash was still there and he didn't pick it up. And I think he had a picture of like him holding a piece of trash in a trash bag type thing, and then made a post about it, and then yeah, it was all bullshit. He wasn't leading a crew, he didn't pick it up, and he ended up issuing a full apology post. And I think that was like 4 years or 5 years ago at this point now. I had to dig pretty far back. I had to dig back a couple years from the point that I contacted him here in, I guess this is 2018, January. So yeah, it became very obvious, very quick upon looking into his stuff that all of his projects were exaggerated and had gaping holes of evidence. And I started, and one of the things that really tipped me off at that time is that in his post talking about how he was going to do the 1 year of food freedom, he mentioned numerous times that he wasn't going to be dumpster diving because he has a history of dumpster diving. And I noticed that one of the references to dumpster diving, just one, included mention that he was going to be dumpster diving for produce for his compost. All other mentions of dumpster diving said that he wasn't going to get his food out of from dumpster diving. And then just one of them, said that he was going to be getting dumpster diving for produce for his compost, so he'd have fertile soil. And if he had mentioned that under all of them, I would say that would be an honest and forthright, trend. But the fact that he threw that one mention in, and it was in the middle of all the other mentions, then it was indicative that he was going to be trying to get by with dumpster diving and using that one mention as an alibi for what he was doing in case he got caught. And you said you want to try dumpstering for compost? Here's my goat share program flyer that I was sending him to suggest that he could do. Awesome stuff, brother. I look forward to seeing how it goes. I personally won't have goats, but I think it's awesome. Yes, I will be dumpstering for compost. Why subject yourself to such an obvious, unnecessary temptation and risk being caught eating? I won't eat the food, just compost it. Simple as that. No, it's not that simple when you're addicted to. He admittedly has no experience gardening, has no experience foraging, and is admittedly a sugar addiction and dumpster diving addiction. So if it's not that simple. It's an addiction, and you're making it really difficult for yourself by opening yourself up to that. And this is when I start calling him out, because I start realizing that he's not an honest person from looking at his content and finding that I lied thing. I don't know what you mean. You make no attempts to prove your previous project claims. Wearing your trash costume for an actual month. He says that he like wore it for an actual month and accumulated his trash in his trash suit. But there's only ever pictures of his trash suit full, like he's a sumo wrestler, because that's a better publicity stunt. Down below, you'll see he admits that everything that he does is a publicity stunt, because he owns a marketing firm, Greenfield Marketing, and he also admits in his Facebook post that you'll see later that he used to be a drunk jock, and then he got out of college and he started that marketing firm, and then he started this fake philanthropy BS, and using his marketing firm to get his reach on all of his content, get it out there. He also claimed, these are just a couple examples from his website that I remembered after looking at his website for like 2 hours, looking through it, his content for a couple hours. He claimed to ride cross country on a bamboo bicycle and filtering all of his own water. Like, those two things make him like super eco. And he only accumulated a Ziploc bag full of trash, which was total bullshit. Like, I've bicycled across country a couple times. That is total fucking bullshit. He said there's no way he did that. And the water filter, I thought it was ridiculous that just as ridiculous that they water filtering all of his own water, that it would be so difficult. That would be so difficult, and he didn't have any evidence of it. He had one single picture of him bending down and smiling and having his water filter in a body of water, and absolutely no other photos and no video footage, nothing. So he became obvious to me real quick right here. That's why I'm getting rude with him, because he's rude for being so dishonest. He's a narcissist. He's a narcissistic liar. I call him out for these being publicity stunts here. And then he admits that they're publicity stunts, but he tries to explain that away and say they're for a good cause. And that's how he convinces himself that everything that he lies about is all right to lie about. Whether I'm getting compost from the dumpster doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. If I wanted to cheat, I'd just walk into a grocery store at any moment. Yeah, you probably did, with sunglasses and a baseball cap. And he totally hijacked this Green Riders. They were a group 10 years ago that was riding back and forth across the United States. They were ecoists. They were doing eco things, and that's exactly what his group is doing. That he's claiming he doesn't even know about them. It's total bullshit. He's hijacking their like, I don't know, he's trying to hijack their legacy or something. They are definitely publicity stunts. Publicity stunts to raise awareness about issues. Yeah, about your narcissistic issues. About your need to be seen. Even though your like eco causes aren't even really that purposeful. And that's what makes it obvious. Except for this food freedom one. This is like a really, like, it would be so epic if someone could do that and like document it, and if they could document it in a way that could help other people. But he just bullshits, and he's misleading people, because you can't do that off of just a couple little gardens and foraging, especially when you have no experience. So he's actually misleading people and leading them into trouble, because if he makes people think, lay people think, who don't have any foraging or gardening knowledge, that they don't have to do anything until shit starts to hit the fan, and once shit does start to hit the fan, then they'll be fine, because all they'll have to do is plant a couple gardens and start foraging. It's not that easy. Please send me the links to the other green riders. Dude, whatever. He's a liar. Anyone can YouTube that, and it comes up like years before his stuff that he's used as marketing firm, and probably paid money to Fiverr and all those other marketing firms that help to rank your stuff higher than other people, so you get better reach. His stuff comes up first, but the green riders come up after that, and they're like, obviously, like, I think they're 10 years ago or something like that. So he also claims to, one of the things that tipped me off is that on his website he claimed to have radical financial transparency, and he had a link to some evidence, so I clicked on it, and it went to a spreadsheet that he filled out that we're just supposed to trust is transparent, that he's being honest about everything that he's saying he allocates his money for. But as you can see, I have the spreadsheet screenshotted down below in this conversation. Here's the spreadsheet. A little hard to see with the screenshot, but it wasn't very crisp on his website either. Which this isn't on his website anymore, because he took it down because it's obvious that it's not radical financial transparency, and I called him out on it, and probably a bunch of other people had too. So he just pulled it all. He pulled a couple things from his website that were he intended to use as evidence of the things that he claims, but it actually, like, with critical thinkers, it actually became obvious. It became the opposite of evidence. Like this personal trip to Central America. He's got a lot of personal trips, jet flights, and he rationalizes it all with by paying his CO2 offset. He pays this nativeenergy.com $84 to offset his carbon, which we don't even know if he actually paid them. I mean, if he wanted actual radical financial transparency, he would be having a link right here on the cost, and you'd be able to click it, and it would go to a picture of his receipt or of his bank account saying that the $84 went out to nativeenergy.com. But he doesn't do that. This is all bullshit. A fucking spreadsheet. And nativeenergy.com, the carbon sales corporations or non-profit corporations are total bullshit. They're worse than the worst supposed non-profits. Yeah, this is the end of the message. So now we can get on to showing you all of his current BS with this 1 year supposed food freedom. All right. I'm going to help you guys see that Rob Greenfield is fake as shit. This is his first day, supposedly, of his whole year of only growing and foraging his own food, growing it only from a couple of gardens, front yard gardens in his neighborhood. And he's not documenting it, like not even attempting to document it. This is his first day, and he says right here, I don't think I've ever done it for a single day in my life. I've eaten a lot of homegrown and foraged food, yeah, but down to every ingredient, the oil, herbs, salt, calorie crop, I don't think I've ever done it for even a day. But yet he supposedly did it for a whole year and didn't attempt to document it. So this is his first meal that he's documenting, and as you can see, it's he quickly follows it up with another thing that he's eating but not showing meal, and then he doesn't show anything or even talk about it for like a week, which is like obvious. He grew a bunch of potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yams in people's front yards. He's showing them, but he's not showing the meals that he's making or anything that he's eating. He originally said that, and I'm going to find that print if he hasn't changed it. He says that he is going to dumpster dive only for old produce for his compost. But then there's never any mention of it throughout it, and then after his supposed year, he has printed several times that preemptively, not even the questions that people ask him about it, but saying that he went a whole year with just eating what he grew, and then in parentheses he'd put, "I didn't even dumpster dive." It's like, sure, you didn't try to document your year at all. Okay, so we're still in the first week, and he's showing a couple of things. He's not nearly as well as anyone else would. Anyone else that is going to claim that they're growing and foraging all of their own food 100% for a whole year is going to be documenting the meals. So far, he has shown his first breakfast, and he showed this meal days later. And he's not even really showing it. So I'm just going to show you guys the stuff that pertains to his food freedom, his year-long food freedom. I want to show you actually the meals that he shows. Shows a lot of stuff about planting trees and gardening and stuff. Since the beginning of my year of growing, foraging, I've not spent a single. He has a bunch of stuff that's related, but that acts like he's documenting, but he's not documenting his actual meals. It's ridiculous. He starts this thing in November. So he shows this kind of stuff. 2 weeks of food freedom is complete. That's 2 weeks of connecting with every bite of food I ate and not documenting it. 2 weeks of harvesting everything I ate from Earth. Yeah. He documented a lot of other people's stuff, so it's going to take me some time to pull through this shit. Today is day 24, okay? And he has only documented 2 meals. So 25 days into his food freedom, and he's shown 2 meals and shown several pictures of him just holding vegetables that his body isn't even acclimated to being attracted to, because he hasn't ever gone even a whole day with eating everything foraged like a lot of other people have, myself included. I know the reality of what he's trying to do, because I've actually been trying to do this on and off for years. After making such extraordinary claims, you have to present extraordinary evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. 25 days of supposedly living off of a couple of gardens and other people's front yards, after you previously were addicted to processed food that you found in the dumpster and had never lived a day off of your own food, you're going to want to show more evidence than just 2 meals. So yeah, he says that he'll be eating this every day for the next few months. but he's not gonna document it. Okay. Okay, this is the third thing that he's showing that he actually like processed, and that I could reasonably believe that he is eating, because he put time into processing it, juicing it, or whatever he's got here. Golden milk almost brought me tears with its delicious, nourishing, and medicinal qualities. The fact that I made it with 100% homegrown and foraged food is deeply meaningful to me. Ground turmeric, ginger. He said earlier on that he wasn't growing turmeric. It's one of the things that he said he was going to miss most, is being able to put turmeric all over his food, and cinnamon. So he's a liar. Such a liar. Okay, so 3 meals after a whole month. 3 meals he's documented after a whole month. Today is day 34 of growing and foraging 100% of my food for entire, as you may imagine, is extremely challenging endeavor. It's more challenging for me to actually document it, apparently. So, what are my motivations there with this blog? He writes a bunch of hogwash. All he does is write. He doesn't... Dude, day 34, if you're gonna be talking about it, snap a fucking picture of it, bro. Jeez, come on. You're pathetic liar. Okay, here's the fourth, what looks like, I don't know, he's got some processed stuff there. He's probably eating this stuff. I can see it. Well, I mean, the potatoes and the root vegetables aren't even fixed up yet, but I'm sure he's eating that fruit. Today is 44 of the year. I feel very content existing. Today is 44, and this is the 4th picture that he shows supposedly what he's eating. Yeah. Still no meal, like actual documentation of a meal. Where did he get that? And where did he get that muffin? He got it from the fucking dumpster that he's actually eating from at night when no one's around, because he's in Florida, where he's a brand new transplant, and no one... That's probably why he moved to Florida, to do this supposed 1 year of living off his own garden food, because he knew he could dumpster the whole time and no one would notice him. So he used to be a marketing manager. He used to be the owner of a marketing firm that literally he had... he calls people and lines stuff up to have them document him. He feeds them his line of bullshit, gets them to believe him, and then they document him and help spread his lies. Just like this Bright Vibes. He literally, before he started doing this supposed philanthropy BS activism, he was the owner of a marketing firm. He's a playa. Still, we don't have any documented meals. Interested in what I've been eating during my year of growing and foraging 100% of my food? Yeah, because you haven't been documenting it. So far, I've eaten about 110 different foods, and I've listed them all. Oh, you've listed them all here. Instead of just taking a picture, which we know you have with you everywhere you go, you have written about how you're addicted to your gadget, and it goes with you everywhere. So, and you document everything else really well. So why wouldn't you want to try to document that? Because you fell off the bus, this project bus, like probably the first week, probably the first freaking couple days. And you're just like, I gotta ride this out and make everyone believe this. So I'm gonna every couple days post about it. But I don't have to post a picture of it, because then they'll start expecting me to post pictures of it all the time. So I just won't even start posting pictures of what I'm eating. What do you mean when you say that I'm growing? Again, he's writing about it, but not actually showing. All right, so this is the second official meal that he's showing, and it's been a month and a half. And he's only shown 2 meals. All right. Today is day 86, and this is the third meal. This is only the third meal that he's showing. Only the third meal that he's documented in 86 days of supposedly growing and foraging 100% of his own food. Today is day 93 of my food freedom, and I'm not showing you a fourth meal. Today is day 93, and I'm choosing to take a picture of a superficial picture of me instead of documenting my supposed food freedom, documenting the meals. Oh, and he used to be a drunk dude. He used to be like a total party dude before he was the marketing firm douche. He was a total fucking college prep drunk. And now he's supposedly a philanthropist and living off of wild edibles and garden food. He's so full of shit. So he collected coconuts, but anyone that knows trying to live off of the same thing, even coconuts, is not possible. The only thing that's possible to actually live off of sheep milk that I've found. Like, you could literally drink that every single day, and I have been drinking it every single day for 6 years, and I don't think I'll ever stop. It's the most perfect food, most bioavailable too. It's the easiest to digest. Today is day 100 of growing and foraging 100% of my food, and I am again not showing you any meal that I'm cooking because I don't want you to start expecting it, because I'm not doing it regularly. Oh my god, this guy's hilarious. He recycles so much of his content and just repackages it. Today is 107. Day 107 of growing and foraging 100% of my food. I cannot say that I am beaming with joy right now because I am a fucking liar. And I know that I haven't been documenting this adequately at all, and that people are going to see me and I'm going to have to delete their comments like mine have been. He deletes comments if you call him on his shit. So... yeah. It's so pathetic that other people have just bought into him supposedly doing this and not questioning him. Like Vice. All these big fucking So he's right. Did you know I'm writing a book about my year of growing and foraging 100% of my own food? You can pre-order. Dude, bro, you've only documented 3 fucking meals at this point. You're over 100 days into your supposed food freedom journey, and you've only documented 3 meals and taken about 5 other pictures of you holding raw vegetables. You're jumping the gun a little bit here, bro. Why would you be writing about it? Why aren't you documenting it? Because you're full of shit. Day 111, and I watched this video, and he shows 2, maybe 3 meals. I think it's 2. He recycles a lot of content, a lot of footage. I like this John guy that he got to document him. He recycles a lot of the footage. They only show in John's video a couple of meals after 111 days. That's pretty. You'd think that as much as he is trying to show everyone every morsel that he's saving from the dumpsters, and he lays his dumpster findings out in an array. And then he turns around and he does the exact opposite with this supposed, questionable feat. He's not even trying to show the evidence. He's doing the exact opposite of what he's done with his dumpster diving finds. So he's just shown 3 meals so far, and he's in 111 days. Am I getting enough food? Yeah, from the dumpster at night. Even though he has no oil in his diet, he literally has no oil in his diet, no fats at all. The only fat that he's getting is from coconuts, and that's not like, I don't know, unless he's eating 5 coconuts a day. That's not your fat intake. You need fat. Half of your minerals are fat soluble. They need fat in order to be bioavailable for your body. They need to be carried by fats to be utilized by your body. So again, he's documenting his weight, supposedly, and all these other less consequential and desirable to be documented things after such a claim of having food freedom for 124 days. He's only shown 3 meals. So he got the National Geographic. He used his marketing company that he still owns to call National Geographic and pull the wool over their eyes. Another, I am growing this, I'm doing this, but I'm not showing you. Wait a second. For one year I'm growing and foraging 100% of my food. Welcome to my garden, my homestead, where it's all happening. Update from 365. How did he complete the project? That he was just on like day 111, and that was like a week down his timeline. Dude, he's a master at like creating like confusion with his projects, so that like he reuses content multiple times and from different angles, and creates the illusion that that his projects have a lot more going on, and that they're more substantial than they actually are. He fluffs them up a lot. And this is really confusing to me that he has, in the middle of his food freedom thing, he has this update. So he must have went back to March 19th and updated it with this date's 365 video, which is really confusing. Why would you do that? That's weird. You'll see. He's not actually done with his food freedom thing. Oh, here's a meal. It's been about a week and a half since my last update, so I wanted to pop in and say hello. Today is day 134 of growing, foraging my own food. So this is your fourth meal that you're showing in 134 days. You couldn't be any more shameful with this project. This is so shameful. Where'd you get that muffin, Rob? Fifth meal. I watched this guy's video of him, Pete Canaris, and he shows like 2 meals in there. This meal and another one. So he calls all these people, all the news channels and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Rob Greenfield with Rob Greenfield Marketing Firm," and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as he says that, then they're like, "Oh, he's legit. He's with a marketing firm." And they document him. Here's part 2 of my green dreams. On my year of growing and foraging 100% my own food. This goes into some great detail and is worth a watch. Plus, I make one of my favorite meals. Yeah, this one he shows 1 meal. Literally. And he acts like he already did it. About my year of growing and foraging all my own food. He acts like he already did it because he knows even that he's not doing it, he's going to continue to fucking lie and push through and persevere, pulling the wool over. Because he's done it with every one of his other projects. I'll show you. He's obviously leaving out evidence that he's done some of the things that he's claiming in his other projects. His 6th meal. This is his 6th meal. Today is day 160 of my year of growing and foraging all my own food, and this is my 6th meal that I'm showing you to prove it. Okay, yeah. I'll count this as 7. This is meal number 7. Day 163, and this is his 7th meal that he's showing. Congratulations, Rob. Super radical transparency there, buddy. That's another one we need to look at after this. He claims that he's radically financially transparent. It's hilarious. He shows like a fucking spreadsheet like on this computer, and he's like, "Look, this is where I allocate all my money. Believe me. I'm not going to take snapshots of my PayPal to show the donations coming in, and I'm not going to take pictures of receipts." Dude, I do that. And I don't even claim to be fucking all transparent and shit. Again, no meal. Oh, here's his 8th meal. This photo represents something I feel often. He's still sleeping, being so tired because he's not getting fucking fed. So yeah, this is day. What day is this? Today is day 169, and this is only the 8th meal that he's shown. Yep, 9th meal. Day 175, and he's showing a 9th meal. Alright, this is the 10th meal. Today is day 183 of growing and foraging all my food, which means I've made it halfway. That is over 500 meals and 1,000 snacks in a row, down to the grains of salt. Dude, if this is your 500th meal, why have you only fucking taken a picture of 5 of them? This isn't even, are you calling this a snack or a meal? This is just pathetically lying. It's so sad. It would be sad if no one was fucking listening to it, but it's fucking gross that people are listening to it. Alright. This mush might not look like much, but it brought me to the edge of tears. Deep connection, flavors, blah, 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 blah. What is it? Some fruit. Liquat. Okay, so he's showing himself eat some smashed up fruit. And this is day 192. And he's showing like his 11th pseudo meal. It's day 200, and I'm not even showing me eating anything. I have reached the milestone of day 200 of growing and foraging 100% of my food, and I thought it was time for a video update. This is only the second video that has been taken. His friend Pete's, whatever his name was, filmed him, made a video, and they only showed 2 meals in that whole thing. Yeah. All right, here's I think this is the video that Pete guy did of him that he's recycling. Join me in the kitchen for 100% forage. I take you through the process, starting with harvesting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this Pete Santis, I think this is his video that he's recycling. Yeah, Green Dreams. Watch the full video on Green Dreams YouTube channel here. So I'll speed through this video and show in fast motion this video, and I'll plug it in here. Green Dreams. You've asked for it, and here it is. The blog documents. He's recycling this again. The blog documents and photos and writing my most common meals, not everyone, most common meals and staple foods, and talks about the basics of my diet, including salt and oil, which he doesn't have any oil except for coconut. It also discusses basic how-tos on foods, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he took it down. Took it down because it was even more pathetic than his attempt to document this shit on the surface. And even more obvious that he was lying, so he just fucking took it down. Still no fucking meals. Here's a meal. So many of you have wanted to know what I'm eating each day. Well, I finally published it. I have logged what I've eaten for each meal, along with the snacks for every single day. It's been a lot of work, as it's not always easy to remember what I eat. Yeah, that's why you would be expected, common sense, that you would take a picture of it as you go, bro. You're such a fucking liar. This has served an important tool to keep me. This is the all 300 foods I ate. Let's see how much of this is recycled. Okay, yeah, he's not showing pictures. He's still not showing pictures. He's just showing the video. I'm surprised he's not trying to recycle his photos of his like 10 meals that he's shown up to this day. His pseudo meals, like half snacks. Yeah, that's just him listing it. All right, here's some food. What's he got here? This week with my friend, this Sarita lady is like who he's shared all of his the meals that he has shown. Seems like it's the same lady. Making tempeh. It's amazing to watch her grow and introduce more people to healthy fermented foods. Tempeh experiment. So they experimented making tempeh. I'm excited to say the tempeh was a success, but I actually can't eat it. I did grow the pigeon peas and I did make the tempeh, but I didn't produce the spores this year. Here I was growing. Oh my god, you don't need to inoculate it with anything. There's fucking spores in the air, bro. There's natural spores everywhere. You can ferment. That's what lacto fermentation and making sauerkraut is all about. This year I'm growing it, blah blah blah. This means I only doing wild fermentation, which means capturing yeast. Yeah, not buying any yeast or starters unless. So why didn't you do that so you could eat this? It's time to do research on growing my own tempeh spores. Okay, so we didn't eat that. It didn't count as a meal at all. He covers all these people and he wouldn't cover me. He like ignored me and poo-pooed me. It's hilarious. Because he knew I'd overshadow him. Today I joined Survival Podcast. Wednesday night I tried to eat away my feelings. This photo was taken near midnight, long overdue. What is he eating? Coconut and honey. Coconut and honey. Coconut and honey. Alright. Oh, still no meals. Still just showing stuff. Nothing processed, nothing fixed, nothing prepared. Like, he prepares his dumpster diving, which is easy for him to continue doing, and that's why he started showing his array of dumpster diving finds, because it's easy to do and it's fun to do, and he did it all the time. And so he started showing pictures of his mandala dumpster divings, but he didn't want to start doing that with the didn't want to start doing that with these meals, because then people would expect it, and he knew he already fucked up early on and how hard it would be. Oh, here you go. Here's another 100%. Like, he's been showing this the whole time. No, this is the first time. He should be like, he should say, finally, here's a 100% homegrown and foraged meal, a video of it, starting in my garden, to the kitchen and then to the table. Wow. Note, this video was filmed 2 months ago. Yeah, sure it was. I've been doing this the whole time. That's what he tried. That's why he put that in there. That's why. Note, this video was filmed 2 months ago so that he could be like, I've been doing this the whole time. It takes so much to fucking edit a video, to fucking own up to my claims, when he's spending his whole day like writing and posting about all this other shit. Today is day 263 of my year of growing and foraging all my own food. Going even if my health was at risk? No, if your health was at risk, you wouldn't tell us and you would just dumpster dive more. Obviously. He's spending all this time documenting everything else besides his food freedom project. Many people have written me who want to grow food, blah blah. Who's sustainableamerica.org is doing a thing on him. At least they're saying this guy is growing, instead of this guy grew all his own food like that news channel did a couple months back. Sensitive content. No. If you harvested this meat, you would show it. You would show at least you cooking it, at least you eating it in a meal. You would at least show a picture of you, instead of just taking a simple picture of you standing over this roadkill and being like, yeah, I ate it. That's what contributed to my 1 year of food freedom. Oh my god. People want to believe this, that's the thing. And he's good at lying, so they're just sharing all of his shit. Today is 300, almost done, of growing and foraging 100% of my food. Another big milestone day, just 65 days to go. I dreamed I was Gandhi last night. You wish. Literally, he's dreaming about it. Oh, this is that lady. Still no documented meals in months. For another 100% homegrown and foraged meal. So this is the second time that he's used video to document a meal, and up until this point he's documented 10 pseudo meals. Like, some of those look like snacks, like just smoothies and stuff. All right. Spend so much time documenting other people during this time. It's been 4 months since I created a video of my gardens and gave a long video update, so here's day 333. This is just of his garden. I've watched that. It doesn't have any meals, except for him eating a couple leaves. Which he's not like a raw vegan or anything like that. Before he started this, he was a regular processed food eating American. Maybe not like a sad diet, like standard American diet, but he was definitely eating processed food. Today is day 357 of growing and foraging 100% of my own food. Too much honey. With just barely more than a week left, I can say it has been a year of abundance. Yeah, I made big mistakes like this summer when my body was questing for quality fat, and I let go a 20-pound lake trout that would have fattened me up. Dude, if you are going fishing, you're gonna fucking be documenting this. Anyone in their right mind would be taking advantage of the opportunity to post about that, especially you. But no, you weren't doing that. You were spending all your time documenting other people and then dumpster driving at night. We're gonna give away my YouTube award. Giving away my... Who the fuck would want that? What? That they didn't earn. I'd be like saying, I'm gonna give away my trophy for basketball to someone who possibly doesn't even play basketball. I mean, unless he's gonna give that to another YouTuber, which would be even weirder if he gave that to a YouTuber. Here's my... I am writing a book about my year of growing. Today is day 365 of growing and foraging 100% of my food. The final day. I just typed those words, but they don't seem real. Is it really true? The calendar says it is, so I don't have a lot to express at this moment. Yeah. Dude, you'd be ecstatic if you fucking did this shit, because no one's ever fucking documented. No modern man, especially an American, has ever documented going a whole year living off of just the stuff they grow and forage and hunt. It hasn't happened, not even close. No one's even fucking attempted that. If you did that, you'd be fucking ecstatic. Especially if he fucking documented it. But he didn't document it and he didn't do it. And so he's just like, I don't have a lot to express at this moment. Oh, so he changes the subject. But I wanted to share this photo of Sophie and I. What? Dude, this is day 365. Are you supposedly doing that? And you're gonna be like, I don't got a lot to like express about that. But here's a photo of me and this kid. Oh my God, you're a fucking clown, man. Sophie has come to just about every single one of my gardening classes. And gardening classes, you admit that at the beginning of this you had never gardened anything. Why are you giving classes? Because you're just a world-class bullshitter. And you have a marketing fucking firm that you got people working for it that are good at calling other people and convincing them to cover your shit, which just gives everyone the perception that you're more legit than you are. So anything that you fucking throw out there, people are fucking biting. Most people came and went, I don't care. Oh my God. So this is the end. You can see he documented 10 pseudo meals the whole fucking time. It's so messed up. And then he just goes on and on about it for like, and reposts in different forms, and has other organizations covering this supposed story, and he just regurgitates those hundreds of times, and he just the truth gets buried back here fucking an hour. It literally took me a half an hour to scroll back this far in his timeline in order to start documenting this. No one's doing that, and the people that have done that and called him on it, he deletes the comments like he deletes mine. Oh, such bullshit. That's Rob Greenfield for ya. Alright, so I'm over at Rob Greenfield's YouTube account so that I can show you his a couple of videos that he filmed during his supposed food freedom challenge. So you can see that he, even on his videos, doesn't show but 1 or 2 meals. This is his first video that he shows. This is just him talking about his preparation for it.
Hey, I'm Rob Greenfield, activist and adventurer, and I'm starting one of my most challenging adventures yet. For 1 year, I'm going to grow and forage 100% of my food. Now, what does that mean?
So
no grocery stores.
It's just his intro. It's only a couple minutes long. It's over. So the next video is that he has on it. He's actually already into the challenge by 111 days. He doesn't even try to document it like at all. He waits until he's 111 days into it before he makes the video. And here's the video.
Hey, I'm Rob Greenfield, and today is day 111 of my year-long project of growing and foraging. To give you a little peek into what I'm eating, looks maybe a little bit crazy for the first time, but it's just mashed sweet potatoes, Seminole pumpkin, and a whole bunch of greens blended in. So a pretty great meal, and I love it. I mean, I just love sweet potatoes.
All right, that was his first video. Alright, on the next video during his challenge. Day 200.
Hey everyone, Rob Greenfield here. Today is a milestone day. It is day 200 of growing and foraging 100% of my food. So I've just made it past the halfway point a couple of weeks ago in my year-long project. I harvest the coconuts from coastal Florida. Southern Florida is much better. Fort Lauderdale and Fort Myers have been my two main areas, and I use these for making coconut milk, coconut flakes, drinking the water, just eating as a snack. This is definitely one of my main sources of calories, of protein, of fats. It's also how I'm going to be making my oil when I finally champion that. So really important source of food down here for me this year. And then of course, a lot of you have been asking, what about my meals? Like, how am I putting all this together into foods? That's probably the main question, the main thing a lot of you are wondering. So I'm going to share a lot of the main meals that I make with you. Seminole pumpkin, carrot, and coconut soup. I make a lot of either sweet potato, yuca, or yam, along with greens and pigeon peas. I make a lot of collard wraps, and that can be collard wraps with yuca and fish, or collard wraps with Seminole pumpkin. I often make large batches of pigeon peas and then freeze them, and then I can add those to any meal. One of my absolute favorite meals is green papaya coconut curry, and I don't make that as often because it's a little more time intensive, but it's one of my absolute favorite meals. I make coconut milk a lot, and that's used as the base for different soups and meals, as well as smoothies. I make a lot of green juice, which is just whatever greens are abundant at that time. And I make tea on many days, and that is a mixture of Japan holly or green tea, reishi mushroom, turmeric and ginger, mint, and holy basil. For breakfast on many days, I make smoothies, or any time of day, and that consists mostly of whatever fresh fruits are abundant at that time of year. There's usually coconut in it to give it a nice creaminess, and then often mango, sapodilla, star fruit, banana, papaya. Usually I'll throw some greens in there like moringa powder. So that's some of the most common meals that I've been making. And now, and after some work and some love, this has produced thousands of dollars worth of food. Right now, it's not at its full glory. We are in the transition from spring to summer stage. And so what I did is I set this up for summer. The summers here are brutal. The weeds just come on strong, and I wanted to set myself up for not a back-breaking summer. So I planted easy-to-grow foods that cover the area. So I did a deep mulching that'll keep the weeds back, and then I'm planting foods that will really cover the ground. So sweet potato is the big one, that's this whole area in front of me. Seminole pumpkin, okra, eggplant, sunflower, peanuts, and roselle. So there won't be a huge diversity in this garden through the summer, but there'll definitely be some good crops and some good calories. I want to tell you a little bit about what I've had great success with in this garden, as well as some failures. Right here I've got the papaya trees. They have produced just hundreds of pounds of papayas, and I planted these from seed when I started this garden. Right here are two pepper plants. I've got this ghost pepper here, I believe it's ghost, and these things are just, I think they're some of the spiciest peppers on earth, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna use these. Now this pepper plant here is what I've really been using. Just look at all the peppers there. I have harvested probably over 1,000 peppers from this plant, and this is just But overall, I've had a huge abundance of food. And really, one of the great examples of that is yucca or cassava. I have just a bank of calories in the ground throughout the neighborhood. I have yucca behind me. I have planted that in 6 different spots. So I've just barely tapped into the yucca that I've planted, and that's basically my little neighborhood grocery store, my little calorie bank or my large calorie bank that keeps me going. So those calories are obviously extremely important in maintaining my weight. You might be wondering, have I lost weight? In the first couple of months, I lost about 3 pounds. Since then, I've maintained my weight. I'm about 150 pounds and started off at about 153. So, doing good there. Health-wise, I definitely feel really good.
Alright. That is his 200-day update. He showed about 6 meals, maybe 8. This is the video that Pete made.
Alright guys, we got an exciting front yard dinner. Rob has invited me and Matt over for some dinner out of the garden.
There we have yucca, Publicity, and greens in color wrap. And the deal making tonight is almost 100% of this garden. The cassava, Publicity is supposed to be the herbs, and the herbs I've got franchise, blue basil, rosemary. This is all 100% of this garden. We've got the herbs from other gardens. This makes up the calories, this makes up the protein in the meal. Maybe 1% from 2 gardens.
333. Oh god, this is fucking half an hour of the same fucking bullshit. Can't believe that.
Hey everybody, Rob Greenfield here, and today is day 333 of growing and foraging all of my food. No restaurants, no grocery stores, no pantries at a friend's house, no dumpster diving, no eating from another friend's garden. Literally growing and foraging 100% of my food. It's been about 4 months since my last update, so I'm sure you're wondering what I've been up to. I've still been at it. I actually went away for a long trip up to northern Wisconsin, up to my homeland. And that's why I haven't had an update, because I spent almost 3 months up there. Just got back to Orlando a little less than a week ago, and now here I am. And I spent a lot longer than I planned up there, and the reason is it was just amazing. I went up there to really reconnect with the land that I grew up on. I grew up there never paying attention to the plants, and I really just felt this strong calling to go up there and connect with the plants that surrounded me and that I just walked by without ever thinking about my relationship with them. I was only going to spend 1 to 2 months up there, but ended up spending nearly 3 months and almost didn't even want to come back. The abundance was real. It was a truly, truly special experience. So I'm going to tell you all about that. But first, I'm sure that you all are really interested, really excited to see how my garden's looking after So while I was gone, I had 4 interns who took care of the garden. Really high in vitamin C, I believe. So continuing on through here, this was my experiment with grains.
millet, I believe this is. I haven't thought about it for a while, so I forgot, but you can grow some grains in Florida, but Florida is not a grain place because of our extreme heat and humidity, as far as I know. Another thing you'll see here is these jars, and you might be wondering what this is. A lot of people have commented they think that I'm vegan because they see all of the plants, but I am indeed not. My way of doing things is eating in a way that I think is actually the most sustainable, is in harmony with the earth, and that doesn't work in a black and white way. Every situation is different. So in some climates it makes sense to eat far more plant-based, in others not. But this is a really extremely sustainable source of meat. This is venison, but this is actually venison. This is deer that was hit by a car that I got off the side of the road. So this is a deer that would have gone to waste, that would have, you know, of course animals may have eaten it, or a city truck would have picked it up and it could have even actually gone to a landfill or something like that. So this is deer that was, you know, hit by a car, and I harvested a handful of deer while I was in Wisconsin. So this was one of my main sources of food in Wisconsin, venison, and it has been a true blessing. I also have canned fish, and this is smoked catfish, which has been great. And while I was in Wisconsin, I ate a lot of fish as well. Another bountiful thing in Wisconsin was apples. I have a few here that I brought back, but these are small ones, but I got, you know, pretty good sized ones too. There's plenty of big apples. I ate hundreds and maybe hundreds of apples. Applesauce was one of my main foods. Venison and applesauce was one of my main foods while I was up there. And also pear sauce, plum sauce, and yeah, apple, pear, plum sauce as well. There was such an extreme bounty of fruit up there. When I first got to Wisconsin, it was actually a little bit rough. I got up there in July, and that's sort of the time of the year when it's not extremely bountiful. So it was a bit of a tough start. Even fishing in the summer, as those are considered the dog days. So it was a tough start, but transitioned later into summer and then into fall, and then up there was just amazing. So a couple of other things up there that were really bountiful. There's hickory nuts, and I make hickory nut milk with this. So I crush these up with the shell and the nut inside and then boil it, and that makes a great hickory nut milk. Acorns, up there we had way bigger acorns. Our acorns down here are really small, like way smaller. And honestly, I haven't utilized these yet. Acorns are an amazing foraging food, but I've barely utilized them, but I could. And then black walnuts, another thing that I actually haven't tried yet, but super, super bountiful up there, and had to at least try some of them. Let's see. I mentioned I was never able to produce enough coconut oil. This is actually deer fat. So I finally have some cooking fat, some cooking oil, which has been really nice for some meals. So I absolutely foraged a lot when I was in Wisconsin, and that was really one of my big goals up there, was to connect with the plants that I was raised around, that as I said, I walked past and never thought about, never put much care or intention into. I just felt this deep calling to go up there and to connect with the land more deeply and to understand the land. So when I got there, one of the first things I did was I went to the library and checked out some global foraging books, and I ended up buying a couple of books. These are two of them that I absolutely love. Like Sam Thayer, who's one of the most renowned foragers in the United States, probably around the world, foragers, harvest, and nature's garden. And the thing about these books is that they don't just give you content education, tell you how to harvest them, what time of year, how to process them. They're just incredibly helpful books. While I was in Wisconsin, I foraged and ate over 100 different species of foods while I was up there. And even then, I didn't get to, there's so many that I walked away from Wisconsin actually having this little bit of a sunken feeling of not getting to do or try everything that I wanted to. And for me, it's not just about eating food. The eating food is a deep connection with the food. By harvesting something from the wild, it means I need to understand that plant and know it much better. So it's not going out there and conquering food by eating it. It's about connecting to what gives me life and appreciating the land, honoring the land, and all the resources that go into it. I definitely give my appreciation to all the foragers out there who have created this information. I don't know how to do this without them. I met with foragers while I was in Wisconsin, and books, there's online resources, there's local groups, and more important, I mean, thanks to all the people that existed before our modern foragers that gave people the land where all this information ultimately has come from. Without them, none of this would be possible. So my absolute thanks to them. I'm really happy to say that I left Wisconsin really feeling like I did truly connect with the land there, and have deeper connection to it than I did in the past. Now, while I was there, I didn't depend just on foraging. That would have been extremely difficult. I brought about 100,000 calories with me for the trip, which 2,000 calories a day, that's 50 days. So just to give you an idea, I did have a lot of food with me. There was a lot of flour that I made from my yam and yucca or cassava, as well as coconut flour, a lot of coconut flakes, and then I had my southern peas and my pigeon peas that were dried. I also had salt, a lot of herbs, and then I also had a lot of dried fruit, mango and banana. And then also for vitamins, I had my moringa powder, which I took every day. So I had a large amount of food to bring up with me, and the combination between foraging fresh food and then having this preserved food was a great combination. I also brought up about 50 pounds of wild yam as well, which was just, I don't know what I would have done without that. So a huge amount of food that I brought up with me, and then maybe half of my diet up there was from foraging and half was food that I brought. And not having a garden while I was there, of course, was the big challenge. Could I travel, and could I not have a garden and do this? And that ended up being a big part of this trip, and I came back healthier than I was before. All right, this sauerkraut needs some sweet potatoes. So while I was in the garden, just before I cut up some sweet potatoes in this pressure cooker and slow cooker, it does both. It's a dual thing. And so we open that up, and there is the sweet potatoes with some rosemary. And I'm not really, I mean, if you know me, you'll know that I generally I avoid technology. But I got this thing, and it's saved me just countless hours. And it was especially helpful on the trip because I could take this thing from house to house and have hot meals as I was traveling. And even for the train ride, for the 38-hour train ride back from Chicago to here to Orlando, I was able to plug this thing on the train and have hot meals. So I've got this. So this thing's just been it's been so useful. So I've got my sweet potatoes, which was my fast food, just popping it in and being done. And then I've got my sauerkraut, which was my slow food. Combine those together for a pretty great little meal. And you can see the bounty of sweet potatoes there as well.
All right, that was day 333.
It's the dream of millions of people, complete self-sufficiency, to grow all of their own food and never have to take a trip to the grocery store. But for most people, it's just that, a dream. The ease of our current global industrial food system is just that, too easy, too convenient, too time-saving, and too alluring. I've been exploring food for nearly a decade, and since the beginning, I've had the burning question. Could I step outside of the big ag system? Could I go without grocery stores and restaurants? Nothing packaged or processed, nothing shipped from a far-off place. Could I grow and forage 100% of my food, everything that I ate for an entire year? That's exactly the journey and the quest that I decided to set out on, and now I'm here to share the story with you. But one big thing, I had very little experience with growing my own food. When I lived in San Diego, I did have a few raised beds where I grew some greens, tomatoes, and herbs. But as a traveler for the last 7 or so years, I had never really settled in one place long enough to grow my own food. So in order to do this, I would have to settle in one place. And that place I chose is Orlando, Florida, where I'm sitting right now. Besides being really fresh to growing my own food, I was also fresh to the scene here in Orlando in Florida. And I was doing myself just 2 years here before taking Florida again. So I had to get planting as soon as I landed here. But I didn't have a garden, I didn't own any land, and I had almost no experience before getting to Florida. I chose Florida so I could grow food year round. And I chose Orlando because I had passed through here a few times and met a great community of permaculturists and people who grow their own food. And specifically, I chose the community of Audubon Park because that's where Orlando permaculture and my friends at Fleet Farming Base. There's already a movement here of turning front yards into gardens, so I have the support I needed in order to do it here. I quickly got to work meeting people in my neighborhood, proposing ideas to them, turning their front lawns into gardens. It really wasn't hard to find takers because it was a pretty sweet deal. They're boring lawn, you turn into a garden, I do almost all the work, come at cost, and they could eat all the food they like right from the front yard. In fact, I quickly had a list of lawns longer than I could handle. The transformation was amazing and quick, and within just a few months I was growing more food than I could eat myself and sharing with friends in the neighborhood. I ended up creating 6 small plots, all within easy cycling distance of each other. I was just figuring out what I was doing the whole time. I went to local meetups like Orlando Permaculture, volunteering in the garden with Fleet Farming, visited farms and gardens and nurseries, took foraging classes with local foragers like meeting, read books about outdoors, and watched videos online and more. For a place to live, I built a simple tiny house homestead in the backyard of a community member that I met. And in exchange for user space, I turned monoculture of grass into an at-home supermarket. Starting from scratch, it took me 10 months to be comfortable and ready to begin my year. November 11th, 2018 would be my first day. It was now time to eat 100% from my gardens and food that I foraged. Now when I say 100%, I truly mean it. No grocery stores, restaurants, no drinks at a bar, nothing packaged or processed, nothing shipped long distances, no farmers markets, not even going over to my friend's pantry, or even going to gardens or the food forest. Why not share food from my friends' gardens? Because I wanted to truly immerse in my food. I wanted to have to really figure out how to grow every single food or ingredient that I needed, or how to source it from nature.
Many people know me for my dumpster diving to raise awareness about food waste. And a lot of people who follow me online assumed that I would still be eating from dumpsters. But nope, no food from dumpster diving at all. I had already proved to myself that I could live off of the waste of our globalized food system. Now it was time to see if I could step away from that completely. That included everything that I put in my body, even supplements, vitamins, and medicines. Now you'd think on day one that maybe I'd have eaten a lot of 100% homegrown and foraged meals, but to be honest, my first meal on day one was my first 100% homegrown and foraged meal of my entire life. It was day one, and I was in the deep end.
But I made the foundation that I needed. Very great. I cooked up dozens of different healthy meals, fermented foods like sauerkraut.
That was his entire documentation of his not documentation of his actual meals. He just talked the entire time and showed a couple of different meals that he made. It's ridiculous.